Hey, good morning. Chuck here with Apple Drains. I'm just on my way to another install, but I wanted to repost a video. So that's what this one is. If you follow the channel, maybe you've already seen it, but if you're really serious about drainage, these videos that we're posting, they are full of information, so much information. This is actually the neighbor, Eric, of the home that we just did. And this install was about 2 or 3 years ago. It's working great, and there's no problem. I actually spoke to Eric while I was at this previous job. And this video covers the hurricane aspect of drainage and how it works and how well it works. Take a look. Again, if you're really serious about drainage, take a look at our videos because they are full of information on how to solve your problem. Hey, good morning. Chuck here with Apple Drains. Today we are in Melbourne, Florida, which is right by the ocean, the east coast of Florida. We're going to be doing some waterproofing along a home, and basically what we're doing is we're installing footer tiles. Some people call that a French drain, but we call it footer tiles because it sits at the footer of the home and helps keep that water from flooding up into the foundation, into the floors. Let's take a look. So along here on the back side of the house, this is the east facing house. You can see the sun. This is the east facing of this house, and that means the ocean is, behind me. And when northeasters come or any type of real severe weather, it really floods back here and going up under the floor into this room. You can see he's getting ready to paint the stucco. Those white marks, that's where the stucco and the block have cracked. It's moving. So we're going to put in footer tile all along this back wall. We're actually going to bring gravel to grade here because so much water when it rains on a northeaster, the water comes off the ocean, it just comes straight onto this wall. We need to collect it very quickly. Along this wall, standard issue stuff that we normally do, we're going to trench all down this whole entire foundation down to the footer level. And that's usually down there about a foot, 2 feet. Then we'll go ahead and excavate that, clean it off. We're going to put on our Blackjack number 57. That's our waterproofing compound. And it's a damp proofing compound, but it does stop the water from entering that first course of block. Then we'll lay out our gravel perforated pipe, which some people call a French drain. Remember, we call it a footer pipe because it sits at the footer. Go ahead and cover that. Basically, we're going to encase that entire system in fabric. We use a soil separator, then we backfill, and we're done. So work's progressing really good. You can see we're just using a little shovel here to dig around these utilities. Always be real careful around all your utilities. Power line's usually pretty safe, actually. People get really worried about that, but it's down there pretty deep. It's more just a cable and telephone that you worry about cutting because they're usually only a couple inches deep. But we're all the way down the wall. You can see the excavation. We want to get down to that footer level. And you can see my shovel is right at the bottom of that footer. So that's where we want to be, all the way down the wall. Then we'll clean this wall off. We'll apply our liquid rubber, and we'll put in our French drain. Really, we call it footer pipe. You can kind of see the overpour of the slab. That's pretty common no matter where you are. Any part of the country, you're going to have an overpour of your foundation, and that's normal. But we just dig around that little section. It's not going to make any difference at all. The real secret is to get drainage. Yes, sealing the wall helps, but the pipe and gravel or easy flow, whichever, that's what you need to make this system work. Otherwise, the water has no place to go. And you can see how wet it is here. Can you see that water? That's groundwater. And it's just coming right into the trench. This will happen everywhere. As water rises up, it goes under the floor, under that footer, into the slab of the house. Depending on what kind of flooring material you have, if you have carpet, you'll see it really quick. If you have tile, it'll be hollow. When you tap on that tile, After a while, it'll become hollowed. That means there's water damage. If you have a hardwood floor, it could buckle, it can raise up, it can separate between the seams, or the hardwood itself begins to show water damage. Lots of ways to find out, unfortunately, that you've got a water problem. But anyways, we're continuing on to dig. Should be here several hours, and we'll have this ready to go ahead and wash off and install our footer tile. So digging along, a wall, a little different. Still dig backwards wherever you can. Just remember that you don't want to fall over against your wall, get it all dirty. I know that sounds silly, and this isn't that hard, except for we're in full sun and it's quite warm, but it's really not that bad of an excavation. Once we get down to the footer, we'll clean this off and apply the liquid rubber. Let that set up. Then we'll install the gravel perforated pipe. We'll encase that in a fabric because there's the sand here, and we don't want these tiny pieces, particles, to get into our system. What you will find is a lot of overpour stucco. That's pretty normal. You can hear it hitting it. There's a lot of it. That's from the masons. And it's pretty normal. A good mason will clean that up, take it away. A decent mason, one that's does a good job, but he'll leave it. But a really good mason, they'll pick those things up and get rid of them. It's kind of like a roofer. The mark of a good roofer. When those guys walk around the yard, if they see a nail, they bend over and pick it up. A lot of roofers don't do that. Makes a big difference because you are going to get a nail in your foot if they don't take it away. So anyways, we're going to keep digging. You can see me scraping back through the trench. Pretty simple. We're almost there on this side. So when you're digging and you happen to find a section, if you can see this, water, okay, see how that water is coming from under the foundation. Now this is a good sign, but of course, it's definitely not good, but it's a good sign for your footer tile. You see that water coming through? Tons of water has been built up under the slab of this home. Our gravel perforated pipe is going to collect that water and send it out, with gravity discharge. The problem with this one is really, this is an AC condensation line, and it's actually going at a wrong angle. They brought it up and it comes out here. But probably that is caused the bulk of the problems in this entire job. And unfortunately, now there's pathways for water, all the way around the perimeter. That's why we're doing the whole thing. But we'll be able to collect that water, and it should dry this out pretty quick and keep up with major storms here in Florida. Matt's over here cutting the roots off, then he'll come back and trench that off, get down to that footer. Got this all the way around, and looks like Chance already started washing some of the wall, but we need to have a place for it to drain, so we've got to get our discharge line set up. Chuck's doing a nice job taking the sod off. See a nice line going all the way out to the lake, and we're almost done with this side. You can see where it's going to discharge if you just follow the sod cut. It goes all the way down to the water. Up here, this was really the problem area. I trenched across here. I showed you where that water was coming up. Remember that? You can see it right here. See that water? And when I first came out here, the homeowner, Eric, I actually said, Eric, I'll bet you that the AC condensation is causing all the problems inside your house. And sure enough, you can see that's where the water is. Here in Florida, everywhere in the country where it's humid, in Charlotte, through Virginia, everywhere, it doesn't matter. If it's really humid, your AC is going to spit out truly hundreds, thousands of gallons of water. And wow, make sure that this thing has a discharge. So what has happened is this water has backed up underneath the home, and he's got hardwood floors in here, and they've just all buckled. Everything buckled. Baseboards are wet every time it rains because there's no place for this water to go. So we pretty much have given that water a place to go, and that's the object of all of this. Remember, the liquid rubber, it works great. It'll do a nice job of sealing, but you've got to have a place for water to go. So we've got collection all along these walls, all the way down, and then we've got discharge, and that's what Chuck's working on. And it's hot out here, full sun. It's tough, but he's making real good progress. Should be done in just about an hour. And over here on this side, we've got it all cleaned off. Remember, we don't clean off the actual footer. We just want to get where that stucco meets the footer, and then we'll seal all of it, but we want to get mostly the seal where the stucco stops and meets the footer. So we'll come back here and clean out all these roots. You can see that root system. Let me zoom in. You see that root system, tremendous amounts of roots from these palms. And remember, there's water under that foundation, so they're seeking that. Makes it really fun and happy for the roots. So we're applying the liquid rubber. You can see it's nice and thick. This stuff's really thick, and it is hard to mix. A lot of comments about that. I hear people say, hey, that's just so thick. Well, that's what it's supposed to be, you know? I mean, you mix it with whatever you got, and you make sure it's nice and thick. But yeah, bringing it back around here to the front, so we don't have to carry that around as much. But it's looking real good, looking real good. What we want to do is we want to get that sealant up to just at the top or the bottom of the floor level. And that way you can backfill a little bit higher, but again, you don't want to go too high. That's kind of the trick of the trade. In other words, you have to know where the floor is. And so when we paint the wall, then we have a really good idea, and we can backfill to that point, and this will settle. I mean, this is gonna, we could come up 3 or 4 inches above that line, and it'll still settle down below that line of blackjack. Looking real good. Painting takes a long time, and it has to dry. To help get that second coat on there, how the liquid rubber works. Let's take a look here really close. Notice, this is solid concrete right here. You see my finger? This is solid concrete. We don't need to do anything with this. That's solid concrete. But where the stucco is, right here, we want to make sure that we seal all of that. This is the second coat. It goes all the way around. We don't need to seal the concrete. People get that confused. There's no reason to do so. And even though you see a few roots there, they've been cut, and they're not really going, they're not penetrating through that stucco. That's fine. All looking good. We got the bulk of all that out of there. No water's gonna, no root's gonna grow anymore. The roots are stopped. They're dead. We cut them. So second coat all the way down, and we still have the other side to do. And of course, it's around noon, and noisy in Florida when people cut grass. They got these really loud blowers and machines. For me personally, guys, it drives me insane. Too much noise. So we're filling up the fabric. It's getting closer and closer. Once we get it filled up, we'll go ahead and fold it over, wrap it up. We have about maybe 60 or 70 more feet to go. And it's about to rain, of course, but that's all part of the job, right? So once you get this wrapped, you can start to backfill. I'm getting ready to fill it up right now. Then we'll haul away the excess, and this side will be done. Okay, so we're calling it a day. It's really only about 1 o'clock, but we've been here since 7:30, so we've got quite a bit done, and you can see we're pretty hot and sweaty. Already changed our shirts a couple times. Go over it one more time. Remember, back here on the east-facing wall, we're going to bring this gravel all the way to grade. So we've got this, and it's also wrapped in fabric underneath of that, but we brought the gravel to the top. Got our discharge. You can see the water is actually flowing on through there. It's looking really good. We've temporarily backfilled it. We're going to add a downspout here, so we stopped right here. We'll add a downspout as well. Continue to gravel, and of course backfill, clean it up. And the same thing on the other side, and we're out of here. Pretty much a good do-it-yourself project, but you can see there's 4 guys here, and it is a lot of labor. But if you decide to tackle it, do a piece of it at a time, Save yourself $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000. Hey, good morning. Chuck here with Apple Drains. We are finishing up this Melbourne job here. Ocean is just right over there. And the reason that they needed this problem corrected is because during tropical storms or hurricanes and northeasters, water just pours. We get 30, 40 inches of rain. It's a lot of water. And of course, it's backing up under the home. Take a look. Okay, we've got our 4-inch discharge going down through the trench out to the lake. And oh, by the way, don't worry about stepping on the ADS. I weigh 200 pounds and I mean, it doesn't crush. So it's really good pipe. And remember, this is solid pipe. You can see we went under the irrigation, and then back along the foundation, we've got gravel perforated pipe. We collected the water. Now we want to discharge the water. So we switched over to solid. We're going to go ahead and backfill this side, clean it up. This side will be done. They just have a little bit more digging to do over there. We'll finish laying that pipe and we're out of here. So over here on this side, you can see backfilling it. We're going to mound it a little bit and grade it off. We're right to that line of blackjack, and it will settle. I mean, it's not going to be a problem. The sod that we cut off, we're actually taking away and get rid of that, and we'll take some of this away as well. We want it to grade away from the house, from the foundation. Remember, we can't be up above the floor with our soil, especially after it settles. But you can see the line of blackjack. Yeah, we'll wash off the wall. But you can see the line of blackjack. That is, the bottom of the floor. So we know we're good. Just keep it right there, and we'll just keep backfilling, and we're almost done. So it's been about 15 minutes, and you can see the sweat already. Very humid, early morning in the Gulf Coast states, especially down here in Florida. Usually burns off and it's actually much better, but we still try to beat the heat. So we're out here early, start about 7. Let me show you what we got going on. It only took a few minutes. We've got this trench pretty much, almost done. So over here on this side, you can see backfilling it. We're gonna mound it a little bit and grade it off. We're right to that line of blackjack, and it will settle. I mean, it's not gonna be a problem. The sod that we cut off, we're actually taking away and get rid of that, and we'll take some of this away as well. We want it to grade away from the house, from the foundation. Remember, we can't be up above the floor with our soil, especially after it settles. But you can see the line of blackjack. Yeah, we'll wash off the wall. But you can see the line of blackjack. That is, the bottom of the floor. So we know we're good. Just keep it right there, and we'll just keep backfilling, and we're almost done. Okay, so everything's installed, and we're getting ready to backfill. And this is the fun part, because everybody's tired and it's hot, and it's only about 9:30, but it's still hotter than heck out here. But yeah, we'll get this backfilled, and then we'll go ahead and clean up the rest of the things that we're doing here, and we're done. Again, a great project. If you want to do this yourself, just expect a lot of labor. Best thing to do when it's a big project is just do a piece of it, small pieces at a time. Remember, I've got a nice crew, and these guys work real hard, but it might take you 2 or 3 days, but you'll still save a great deal of money. So it's kind of important to remember, stand on that pipe as you pull your dirt over there. And remember, this material, it's called HDPE, high density polyethylene. It is way stronger than you think. I think the interesting thing about high density polyethylene is that, yeah, you could crush that. I mean, if you stomped on it, you could crush it. But other plastics that aren't HDPE, that are just heavy duty polyethylene, they usually shatter. About the same kind of crush rating. They're 3,000 pound crush, rated at 6 inches under the ground. So don't be afraid to step on your pipe. It's quite strong. So again, there's a lot of videos out there that talk about how great their systems are, and that they're this and that. And I think that's great stuff. I'm sure they work really well. We are in an area that receives more rainfall during hurricanes and tropical depressions and just a northeaster than anywhere in the country. And the systems that we install, they keep up with this without any problem. So always take a look at your advice that you've been given. If you're a DIYer or if you're going to pay somebody to do that, take a look at all the videos. I think they're all great, and that way you've got some good knowledge of what to put in the ground and how the system works. So we're pretty much done. We've got it all backfilled. You can see it back over here as well in the front bed. We'll just walk around. Remember why this was done, because footer pipe protects the floor and your foundation. Water had been coming up underground, moving under and coming up inside the home, causing all kinds of problems inside there. So we've got, people call it a French drain, but we've got gravel perforated pipe that sits down at the footer level, way below the floor. That collects subsurface water. We pick it up, we change the solid pipe, we discharge out and over the hill. On this section, we've got all gravel to grade, and that is because this is an east-facing wall. Remember, this is Florida. The ocean is just right over there, and we experience things called northeasters. Northeasters produce anywhere from 10 to 14 inches of rain on the average, and of course we get tropical depressions pushing 20 inches on the average, and hurricanes 30 to 40 inches. We need huge amount of water collection to deal with these problems, way more than anywhere in the country. So these systems have to work really good, and although I'm a big believer in sump pumps, I think they move water way faster than gravity. This had plenty of gravity discharge. In other words, we had more than enough fall to send this down to the lake. I was told by the homeowner that right here by the tree, that during the past 2 hurricanes, that water did climb clear up to here. So that's how much, I mean, that's 2.5 feet down to that lake. We're talking, tremendous amounts of water. And these systems work extremely well. All the pipe, perforation, gravel, and or easy flow. Easy flow works really good in this situation. So anyways, they're picking up that last little bit. We've got the sod back on. Let's take a look at this side over here. And again, this will settle all the way back to flat. And you can see how this side turned out very, very well. Hey, this is Chuck with Apple Drains, reminding you that if you believe you can do something, I guarantee you can do it. Have a great day.